Right, we're live. We're live. I'm alive. Staying alive. Let's have the chat. Chat is on. Roger that. Okay, greetings. Today is December 1st, uh, Thursday, and it's kind of a day when we're not doing what we normally do. Normally on Thursdays we do interviews with people who are interesting and have something to do with the farm community. Something. We do accountants sometimes, tax lawyers, um, other homesteaders, other podcasters we've done, um, patriot type people like the Resistance Babes. We've done them a couple of times. And it's worked out really well. I mean, the only reason why we're not doing it tonight is because we've been super busy. And what we've had a lot of people that have volunteered to do it. And so we've just had a line of people that had volunteered, and we haven't had to ask anybody. So this week, it didn't happen. We didn't. It just didn't happen. So Jill and I and Joe had a business meeting today, a couple of hours, and we just decided, hey, let's just do a regular show and not bother anybody and get some stuff out there about Anyone Can Farm, the Anyone Can Farm experience. Kind of talk a little bit about the direction that we're going and ask for input on here. I mean, this is a two-way street. Uh, a lot of you are really dedicated to the Anyone Can Farm experience and probably see where we want to go with this and how that is of benefit to you. Probably. I hope you see that. And so it makes a lot of sense for me to ask for your input on these things. So that's what my mission is tonight. We don't have anybody to interview. It's just going to be me and you. I am asking for your input though tonight in the chat. Okay, so first of the year is coming. 30 days from now or so, and we want to set a direction. Like when you're going someplace, you're constantly adjusting your course. Even very rarely do we take you know, as the crow flies to any destination. We always have to adjust our our heading. Like even going to town, I can't go straight there unless I'm flying, and I'm not not too good at that these days. So we constantly adjust our heading, and Anyone Can Farm. It started out many, many years ago, and it really was an answer to a pain in the rear end. It really was. I had folks that were ringing my phone and just showing up, and I was at a place where I thought, wow, you really care what I do? You want to know what I do? And I was very willing to drop what I was doing and show people around. And a lot of times it wound up really distracting me from what I was trying to get done. And I mentioned it one time when we were at our naturopath, and she says, "Oh, that's what you call wendigos. Those are wendigos." And so, and Craig Schaff was in our life at the time, and he used to open his place up every Saturday, and people would come and he'd show them around, and he had big crowds there. I'm talking like 20 people would show up, and he would just do it gratis. No one paid him for it, and so I said, well, why don't we do that? So we can just direct people to Saturday mornings. If you want to come and see the farm and you want to have a chat with me about what we're doing here, let's do it Saturday mornings. It never caught on, never caught on. And so we kind of dropped it because then all of the sudden, out of the blue, you'd have one guy would just show up expecting that there'd be a crowd here. And I'd be like, can I help you? Oh, yeah, I'm here for the tour. Oh, the tour. So it didn't really work out for us. Um, and anyone can farm at first was not that wasn't the name of it. It was just Baker's Green Acres. And if we were going to do some sort of event, like a pig butchering or something like that, it wasn't under the banner of the Anyone Can Farm experience. At first, it was Anyone Can Farm. Now it's the Anyone Can Farm experience. And there's reasons why that had to be done, why it had to morph like that. And the reason for that name actually came from the lawsuit. And I've told you guys about this quite a few times when we were defending our rights to pursue our farming operation, and this entities from within the state of Michigan, Department of Agriculture mostly. Their argument was that they thought that our pigs could become feral, so therefore we need to dispose of them now, sort of like a pre-crimes scenario, right? It could happen, so therefore you have to dispossess them because we say so. And at the time, it's like, who the hell are these people, But as we faced them down in court several times, it was like, these people are not, they're not really with it, for sure, not with it. And anyway, I don't like to spend a lot of time throwing stones at them. It's worthless. Um, but their shtick was that really only people who are educated should be farming. So if you haven't been through the university system, you ain't astute enough to be doing this. And it's funny because very few of them are in farming. Very few of them. The ones that make it through the, veterinarians are, but they're not really in farming. They provide a link, but they're not the overall owners of farming operations that actually produce something. Most of the time, they're not. So, and I got nothing against veterinarians. Some of them are good friends of mine. But Department of Agriculture, their thing was that only we can farm and people who we authorize to farm. That's where they would like to go. That was what they were trying to accomplish. And we can see now where the commander in chief is saying there's going to be food shortages. If these guys had attained what they wanted and they had control of agriculture like they want to have control, then they could close it down. They could slow down the supply of food. And I believe that they are now. I think they're actively working to do that. Because in times like we're going through right now, where the commander in chief is saying, "Hey, get ready for food shortages. Get used to being hungry." You would think the Department of Agriculture would be saying, "Hey, come on, everybody, let's find a solution to this problem that the president says we could possibly have." Moreover, why isn't the president of the United States putting his finger in the belly button of the director of the United States Department of Agriculture and saying, "You fix this now, or I'll get somebody who can"? That would highly motivate that director to do that, but that hasn't happened. No. That hasn't happened. They're more saying, "Oh, you better not raise any chickens because you could get chicken flu, or what is it? Bird flu. We could have another pandemic of bird flu." So anyway, it's foolishness at their level, and so looking back, we did not understand back then. Are these people dumb, or do they have an agenda? And if they have an agenda, it almost seems like they're setting up a choke point. It's like they're setting us up to control food. That's the way it seemed. But I remember mentioning that to a lobbyist that we had hired down in down at the state capitol, and he says, "If you bring that up, I will not take another penny from you." See, because he did not want to be representing somebody that would come out with a crazy, conspiracy theory like that. He didn't want him. He didn't want to touch that. And he also, I at one time I said, well, maybe, no pigs on the. They didn't want any pigs on the countryside. Maybe this is a Muslim thing, and it turns out it wasn't. It's nothing like that. But he did not like the sound of that either. He's like, do not say anything like that. So I should have asked him at the time, then what is this? You're the lobbyist. You should know. What are they trying to accomplish by doing this? And I'm sure he would have said, oh, they're just trying to protect the environment, right? Because that's what they said. That's what they always say. It's always about the environment or the children or your safety. We're concerned with your safety, or, baby ducks or baby seals, or it's always something like that. I mean, we should understand these people by now. They always have an agenda, and it's always like anti-human agenda. So anyway, that's where anyone can farm. It was actually a dig at the Department of Agriculture, because they said, no, not everybody can farm. Only we can farm, or the people who we certify can farm. And I thought that was the beginning of my goofing on certifying, right? Like a bunch of weenies that come out of the university and go to work for the Department of Agriculture. It's really funny in a way, because it's not really it's really the Department of Anti-Agriculture. But anyway, they're just weenies because they don't really want to work. They're kind of parasitic types, and they climb the ladder of non-success within that organization. And here they are saying, we are the certifiers of true farmers. It's comical when you think about it. So the name Anyone Can Farm was a dig at them, because we maintain, and I still to this day, I absolutely maintain, anyone can farm. I mean, we've had people from across the board attend our adult education um, events. I mean, really, across the board. We actually had well, a couple of mentally challenged individuals come one time, and I was floored at how attentive they were to wanting to do a good job, and repetition did not bother them, and they responded very well to the other members of that particular class who wanted to help them. And usually on day 3 of the class, I kind of start the day by reviewing, okay, this is where we're at. Is there anybody here that doesn't feel as though they can take a bacon off of the ribs? Anybody? No. And these two guys are standing there like, dun, 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 and you could just feel it. They had achieved what they set out to do. And frankly, I don't think they'd been challenged very much in their life. And I challenged them, and the other members challenged them. Like, no, you can do this. And when I went through several, and then at the end, I said, "You see, anyone can farm," like that. It choked me right at the end because I was witnessing before my very eyes anyone can farm, and so there's another part of this too is farming. Define farming. Define farming. And these days, you hear, well, not so much these days. I mean, maybe 10 years ago, it's like, well, I've heard this in the last 2 years, and somebody let it slip, right? Somebody let it slip and said to me, "Yeah, well, you guys are hobby farming like that," and she should not have said that because I know where it came from, and we don't see this as a hobby, right? It would be like, oh, you're hobby Air Forcing, you're in the Air Force as a hobby. No, that's actually how I pay my bills. So she let that slip, and then I kind of like, I know where that came from because they're involved in, industrial ag. And industrial ag, you don't pasture your animals, you keep them in a building, right? And when they get sick, you start walking the meds to them and all that stuff. And, high debt, high everything. And we don't do that. We don't do that part of it. We are more traditional farming. So the video that I just made tonight, it's on the Baker's Green Acres Facebook page. I made a big deal out of building a shed so I could put a 54 horsepower tractor in there. Why? Because that's what we use. That's what we use to farm this ground. It takes a little longer, but I was able to purchase that outright. I didn't have to mortgage my home to buy a tractor. Right now, equipment like that, if you buy, newer, even 10-year-old equipment, it is so expensive. And it's so big that if you're just going to farm 80 acres or within my 80, this 50, that's farmable, the rest of it is woods and stuff. It's like you'd be making a huge investment to farm a very small piece of property, actually. So the smaller equipment is what they use for a long, long time in traditional agriculture. Can you imagine in 1965 buying a John Deere 2020 and having it be brand new? Like that was the cream of the crop right then. It was a brand new design. It was touted as a powerful tractor at 54 horse. 54 horse. Now they had bigger ones back then too. But your average guy that was farming 80 acres, he wasn't going to get into something, that would be that expensive. I wonder what the MSRP, Justin, can you look up the MSRP of John Deere 2020? I'd be interested to know what that sold for in 1965. The one that I have was a prototype. It was one of 1,000 that they built the very first year in 65. Then 66, they went into full production. And so mine has things on it that the 66s don't. I didn't know that when I bought it. I just knew that when I looked at it, it ran good and it had enough ponies for me. So, yeah, we define farming as producing proteins and carbohydrates for either human or animal consumption. So in my, I'm a Baker's Green Acres is a certifying entity. We certify people. You want to get certified? Come see me. I'll certify you. So you should believe what I say because I'm a certifier. You should believe everything I say. Um, Now, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So we define farming as anytime that you are growing carbohydrates or protein for human or animal consumption, right? That's farming. But also, if you're growing or you're producing fur, that's farming. You know, um, yeah, okay. Donnie Mono certified this around 5K new. Really, that much? That much? All right. And I paid six for it. And how old was it? I got it in 2020. Somebody want to take care of those barking dogs? But if you're raising tomatoes out on your porch, why that's farming, right? Because you're producing carbohydrates for human consumption. That's farming. And like the really big farms say, well, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. Yeah, but sure it is. I've got this single plant and it's going to give me 25 tomatoes all summer long. Uh, I planted it and I'm going to eat the tomato. Why is that not farming? Why is that not farming? It is farming. So it's it's very important that we don't allow the narrative that they want out there about hobby farmer. Hobby farmer. What maybe instead of the size of my tractor or the amount of property that I have, maybe instead of looking at that, whether or not you're going to call me a real live farmer or you're going to just dismiss me as some probably growing dope over there. Why not? Let's compare bottom lines. How about that? How about that? How about that? We'll compare bottom lines. Why don't we do that? And of course, comparing bottom lines, we have to compare the debt to income ratio. Let's do that. Okay, so anyway, this is what I want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about the direction of Anyone Can Farm, the Anyone Can Farm experience. So Joe came on with us about, I think it's coming on a year now. Would it be? Yeah, it's coming up on a year. We're about probably 10 months. And he felt as though he could reach a different demographic than we were reaching, than I was reaching. And so me and Jill said, yeah, let's see. And as he's done his thing with videoing, he's gotten much better at it. And sure enough, yeah, we have attained some goals that that we set and we attained it. Like one of them is that I got to tell you guys about is we are now monetized again on YouTube. Now it doesn't amount to much, but and that is not our goal. Our goal is not to get so many thousands of views that we're getting paid from YouTube. That's really not our goal because in a lot of ways, in order to get those millions and billions of views, you have to get by the people who govern, the amount of views, right? And if you espouse a certain message that they don't find uh, offensive, then they'll open the floodgates and you can reach thousands of people. However, that doesn't equate to action necessarily. It doesn't. As the content producer, it could equate to dollars and cents for sure. I mean, you look at some of these YouTubers that do homesteading things. I can think of a couple. Um, I can't think of his name right now. Not Lone Star, Wrangler Star, and he's got some pretty good content, but it's his full time gig, you know. And I think that he even did a video, and he's talking about the amount of money that they have made just doing YouTube. And he's saying, it's not all it's cracked up to be. I'm detuning. I want to sell everything. It's the stuff winds up owning you instead of the other way around. So that, okay, I mean, it would make a big difference around here if we made those kind of dollars, I suppose. Although you could really lose focus if that was the case. So that has not happened to us. Our videos consistently get. It appears to be low view counts. That's the way it says, but they're very consistent in the number of counts that they get. And Joe assures me that, well, if you ask people to come to one of your classes, you fill a class. So you're able to, to keep the farm going via adult education. So we really can't look at the view count as an accurate gauge. What we have to do to gauge the successfulness of Anyone Can Farm is bring to the attention of people who are in this tribe and attend or have attended, say, Tribe Day or some of our classes and come and listen in on these chats. You really have to ask yourself, is this helping? Is it useful what these people are doing? And right now there's 5 people involved in Anyone Can Farm. Me, Jill, Joe, Lorna. That's it. And my kids. My kids help out all the time. I don't think I'm missing anybody. But you really have to ask yourself the personal question, is this helping? Is this good? Is this good for me as a uh, family head of family to be involved in this? Is it good? And it's either yes or no. Well, if it's like, nah, I'm gonna go do something else. I've had some of that lately. I mean, that's been continual, right? Where people are really jacked about something that I'm doing and they want to do the same thing. And I'll get comments like, oh, I sure want to pick your brain on that. And then I'll say, well, we're having a class coming up soon. Why don't you come to the class? And you won't have to pick my brain. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's kind of expensive. Oh, really? Then you toddle your beef into the processors if you can get them in, and you tell me if that isn't expensive. It's the same price. It's the same price. You're going to be, when you take a beef in, you're going to pay better part of $1,000, and you're going to pay it every time you take a beef in, every single time. Whereas if you take a class for $750, you will have that as a tool in your toolbox. And then over the years, this is called amortization. Let's say you process 2 beef a year. That's $2,000. You're actually making money the first year by processing your own beef. Oh yeah, but I don't have any place to do it. Hey, we're talking Anyone Can Farm here. Escape, evade, right? We're talking about adapt and overcome, right? Don't be a wuss. Please don't whine. I don't have that. So it's better when people do that to me or try to try to talk me down on the prices of our classes. Just run along, Just run along. It's like, what? If this has no value to you, then just run along. Just go figure it out on your own. So Jill titled the this presentation tonight. She titled it before I knew that I was actually going to do it, but she said that we want to talk about mentoring, and I want to ask the question: is this worth it? Is this making a difference? Is it having an impact on our world? I just kind of need to know. I need some input on this. It's not as though if five of you said, nope, it's a waste of time, that I'd quit. I wouldn't. Uh, but if there is a way that we need to tweak this, I mean, you're the customer, actually. If there's a way that we need to tweak this, I need to hear it because I'm going with you or without you. I'm pressing ahead because I guess maybe I'm seeing out in front of the headlights that you guys can see because I see America 2.0 as back in the 50s as far as farming goes. Because I live in the middle of CAFO farming and I'm not seeing good things. I'm just not seeing it, right? I don't see any good coming of it. Literally, no good comes of it. People are working minimum wage jobs. They can't support their family on them. They hire a lot of people that are illegal, that are in the country illegal. And I know people don't like to hear that. There's no such thing as an illegal human being. Okay, they don't belong here because they're not citizens and they butted the line. They're not doing it right. And the only reason why law enforcement doesn't get involved is they think, well, who will milk the cows? You know? All right, here's some input from Keith Sutton. And I haven't seen you in a while, Keith. It says, you have made an impact on my family and my lifestyle, and it is worth more than money dollars. Okay. What direction are we going in the direction? Does the direction we're going, does it suit you? Or should we vector into a different line? That's kind of what I'd like to know. I want input as far as how are we doing? Do we need to fortify our position here? Do we need to change some things? I'm not saying if you guys don't say anything, I'm just going to quit. I'm not going to quit. There's no way I'm going to quit. I'll quit when I want to, and I don't want to. So I'm not going to. In a way, some of this is a little bit on the passive aggressive side. If the Department of Agriculture had their way, if they had their way, you would not be able to raise a pig outside of confinement in the state of Michigan. Do you realize that? And it was just a couple people that dug their heels in and said, "Nope, not doing it. I'm not doing it, and you can't make me." And we were right. They couldn't make us, or they would have. Right. So let's see. Fun on the homestead. Amen, Keith. Is being rich really about dollars and cents? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. One of the more enlightening things that I've experienced in my time after the military and here, um, when the pig thing was going on and there was a lot of notoriety about, hey, this guy here and this guy is standing up to the man and all that stuff, people came into my life that were actually extremely rich, extremely rich. And I got to go to their houses and, you know, yeah, riding their jets. And I thought, yeah, this is what I've been poor for 20 years. This is what I want. I want my own jet. But stepping back from it, it's like, no, I don't. It was fun, but I don't. That's not the lifestyle that I want. Not at all. I mean, I had a tremendous experience today when Jim and I were finishing up working on the building that we were working on, and I cut him loose so he could go take a ride on his motorcycle. And I stood there and watched the sun go down, and I can smell this fresh pine boards that we were putting together, and it was just magic. You know, I was just so happy, and I thought I need to make a video, but I waited and I let the sun go all the way down because I didn't want to miss it. And that's what I like. I mean, that's what keeps me going, right? Things like that. All right, Nancy's with us. Welcome. Catch up to speed is we are wanting to know about the Anyone Can Farm program, and are we meeting the needs from, I mean, you guys are not general public, but there are a lot of general public that watch the videos. I saw one of the videos today, it had 11,000 views. So that's a lot of people, and it was relatively new. And so a lot of people are hearing it, and it had to do with uh, livestock guardian dogs on your homestead. And so those people, I don't think, and I could be wrong, the view counter I'm looking at right now says 19. And I don't know what to do with that. I don't know if that's true or not, but uh, you guys seem to be the much smaller group that would know me and my staff much better than just the masses like that. And I wasn't exactly asking for input on that video that played. So I'm just asking for video for input on our Anyone Can Farm program, Nancy. This is what I'm the gist of this, and trying to see if we're meeting the needs of the people that we serve, or we could do something slightly different, or whatever. You know, I'm game for just about anything. Um, so I'm asking for input, and it doesn't look. I got some input from Keith, but nobody else. Nobody else, huh? Well, maybe I'll just quit. Okay. Keep up doing the thing, and you will have the power to stand up when all the rest are done. Yeah, you know what? Um, I didn't make it up. I don't know if Owen Benjamin made it up, but he said, "Evil is weak. Continue to build." And when I heard that, I thought, yeah, that's right. That's right. Because as I said the other night, I believe this, and I've never heard anybody else say this. This is just the way I look at it is evil, good and evil are not, uh, they're not opposites, right? I don't think they are. I think good is the opposite of bad, but evil is something completely different, right? I think it's something completely different. And evil is part of this world. And I almost wonder sometimes if people are actually human beings. I don't know. I really don't. These evil people. And I've known some of them long before I even was out of high school. I mean, we're truly evil people, you know, in their way. And I don't know if they progressed in their career of evilness, but who knows? I just don't know. Let's see if the counter is right. I'm number one, and oh, and go. Donnie says 21. Donnie says 22. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if that proves anything, though. I really, I wouldn't know. Okay. Nancy's saying, butchered 2 pigs last weekend. Had a scalder built, but it had a leak, so the pigs were skinned. Okay, cool. That's good. I think that's good that you're actually doing the thing. Belva, we like the direction you're going. We have appreciated getting questions answered during the Wednesday night Zooms. All right. I kind of figure you do appreciate it because you show up. I like that. Um, what Belva is referring to, and I want to put this out as much as I can, and here's some place that I could use some help. I really could use some help here. The Tribe Plus, which many of you are members of, and honestly, I have never looked at the roster. I know who's Tribe Plus because they show up on Wednesday night consulting calls. If you're in the Tribe Plus, you sign up, you're compensating Baker's Green Acres for doing the Anyone Can Farm. 49 cents per day, cup of coffee a day. And out of that, you know, Joe has to be paid. He does a tremendous job. And right now, it's just me and Joe paying him. And not very much. He's doing a lot of the work, not really getting paid. But he believes, like I do, that we need to keep this going. This is good, a good thing to do. And eventually it will pay. But we need help there. We need people to join the Tribe Plus and commit to staying with it while we grow. And we had some problems with the website right from the get-go. Yeah, it wasn't good. And we hired a guy to fix it, and he didn't work out. So now we've got somebody else that's fixing it. And I hear it's better. And my sources are pretty good. My wife says it's much better, but it's got a ways to go. But I need you to stay with us. Don't punch out yet. Don't punch out. Help us keep this going. And we need other people to join. We are setting goals, and we would like to have enough people joining that we can actually sustain the business. And that's up around 100 people that would sustain the business. So, well, I need help with that. The other option is when you have like super chats, people can help you out that way, right? Okay, Johnny Spears is with us. Oh, my mouse is down. Okay, I got to back it up, John. All right. Nancy's saying, I will post the scalder on Facebook. My uncle built it for me. All right, let's see it. I'd love to see it. The reason we scald is because, as you know now, trying to move a skinned pig can be difficult because they're so slippery. It's like trying to pick up a seal. All right. Ballistic's saying, I believe you have been a benefit to the people who watch because you discussed many different topics. Thank you. All right. Nancy says, I usually consult your videos for everything I am doing, so thank you for posting to teach. Okay. And then you're telling us that you did process a couple of pigs. I wonder if you'd ever done that before. John Spears, the knowledge that you provide has a lasting effect on people's lives. It was worth it to me to gain knowledge. I can make more money tomorrow, but knowledge is not always as new message little thing got in the way. I can't read it. Not always as readily available. Thank you. Appreciate that. Um, Yeah, I appreciate that. Do you think, am I being Pollyanna-ish when I say that I think homesteading and self-sufficiency has an impact on America? I wonder. I wonder if you guys think I'm just running my mouth. I because I truly believe that. All right. Let's see. Jay Z. Oh, it's doing that thing to me where it goes either too high or too low. Okay. Told some people on the homesteading page about the virtual consulting. Hope they check out the Tribe Plus. Yeah. That's a point that Justin is making that I believe is the essence of this. Uh, when you want to learn to do something, it makes an awful lot of sense to consult with people that are actually doing the thing. It makes a lot of sense, especially when you have somebody that's willing to share information with you. See, that's what's happening in industrial agriculture. They're all divided, they're all like a bunch of islands, and nobody talks to each other. They don't know how many Mexicans you got working, where you get them, or anything like that. They don't know any of that stuff. And this started shortly after I got here. It used to be that guys around here, that the 80 cow dairies, actually shared equipment, trucks, stuff that they only use once in a while. And that came to a screeching halt shortly after I got here. And that's too bad. This type of farming, traditional farming, we share all the information. There's nothing that I don't share. I'm not going to share my checkbook bottom line with you or anything like that, or my weight. Oh, I did that the other night, didn't I? Yeah. But there's really not a lot of secrets. If you want to advance in this career field, work harder and work smarter and work longer, sleep less, deny creature comforts, deny, put yourself in a place where you're just in austerity mode. Don't spend money on stupid stuff, right? And when you are a member of Tribe Plus, you have access to me, right? On the Wednesday night shows, you come on there, and for that, you may come on once a month and you're paid 49 cents a day. But that one visit there, you have me personally. You can ask me to my face questions about your homestead that you need to know. So that's one of the things you get. Plus, you get all the other good stuff that's on there. Okay, homesteading. This is Blistic, and he's saying homesteading is great for the family, and family is forgotten by many, but homesteading can bring the family home. I agree with that. I really agree with that. I work with my kids. Today, I worked with several of them, the two little ones, and then Joe. So that wouldn't be happening if I was working at a factory in town, or if I was working for a defense contractor or anything like that. You hardly even see your kids. Never mind raise them as. So you're not raising children. You're raising adults. You're transitioning children into productive adults. And how can you do that? I mean, why would you turn that over to people who color their hair blue at the school to do? They didn't do very well on their own, and why would I want them telling my kids how to be? I don't know. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, Nancy is saying never processed or owned farm animals myself. So that is a milestone for you. Right on. You have reason to embrace that and be impressed with yourself that you did that. You it's a victory, and you should be proud of yourself. Nothing wrong with that. Like, what's next in your life? If you can do that, what is it that you can't do? What's next? What's the next adventure? That's what I was saying to John the other day. Oh no, it wasn't John though. It wasn't John. Sorry, John. I was talking to Matt, and we were going through the numbers on processing beef. And the way we're looking at this is, if we make a profit, it's not for the purpose of just, having a pile of dollars on the table and saying, mine, mine, all mine, and looking at it and rolling around in it and all that stuff. No, it's like, okay, what can we do with this to benefit the operation? How can we make the operation better? So when I come to you all and I say, hey, I need you to join. I needed you to join up because we need the funding on an ongoing basis to make this happen. I'm I'm telling you that those dollars will be used for things that will benefit the entire. It'll make all boats float higher. Everybody will benefit from that. And it's it's sort of like what I said about scrounging the other night. If you come across a pile of scrap lumber and you know how to do carpentry, then it's a gem. But if you don't have a hammer, you don't have a saw, and you come across some scrap lumber, it's like, what am I going to do with this? And you just walk by it, right? I'm at a place right now where if we had these dollars, we could turn them into exquisite teaching facilities and videos. Right now, it's on a shoestring. There isn't a big pile of money that we're operating off. This doesn't generate anything. When people come to the classes, it does. But we've got to run the farm too. So we're not. I'm dead set that you have to do the thing in order to have the power to teach. Because if you don't do it, then you really shouldn't be teaching, and people will kind of sense that you don't really know what you're doing. And not to say, I learned this in the Air Force sitting on boards or going to boards. And when you get asked a question that you don't know and you try to baffle them a little bit, you're talking to guys with a lot more experience than you, and they know when you're lying. You're much better off saying, I don't know the answer to that, sir. I just don't. At least at least they don't curse you for lying to their face when you try to tell them some BS, right? So yeah, we don't know everything, but we're in the discovery mode. So we would discover many, many more things along the way, and I know we're going to anyway. I'm discovering new things every single day. There was stuff that we wanted to do this summer that we just didn't get to. We wanted to do post and beam construction, just didn't get to it, and I thought that we would have smoother operations, but we had some breakdowns. Both my tractors broke down, and it's a lot of dollars to get those fixed, and it took us a while to get up and running again, but we did, and now we're in good shape. Actually, today I had my 2020. I got it back from Mike Myers right at the end of summer, and it quit running the year before. It just stopped. And so we went through and did all the things that we could think of to get it running. And one of the things was the carburetor was really old. It was beat up. It'd been taken apart a bunch of times. Nothing really fit anymore. And the gaskets didn't even fit very good. So I got a new one and put it on. I set the float on the best I could. Still, it wouldn't run. And by now we've made a lot of adjustments here and there and every place else, and now we couldn't get it to run. And so we sent it to the expert, Mike Myers. Around here, he is one of the best mechanics that there is, probably around, probably on the planet. Honestly, he's phenomenal um, understanding of this equipment. And he sent the carburetor to a place where they actually flow test it and set it up so it'll run perfectly. They have a machine that does it, and that probably wasn't done when that tractor was first built. But when the tractor got back to me, it ran like a sewing machine. You barely touched the starter and it was running, and it just ran so smooth. But it was a real and it, and so then I went to use it when I got my other tractor stuck, going out to get a deer for one of the kids, and it wouldn't run. It was popping through the carburetor and everything. I didn't know what was going on. So it sat down there, and I needed to get it out for the class this weekend. I needed to get it out of there, so I had to just dig in on it, and I dug into it today. Wound up changing the plugs and um, draining the fuel and putting in a fresh fuel charge and re-gapped the plugs. They weren't gapped properly. The first ones were at 30 thousandths. It's supposed to be 20 thousandths anyway. But then it fired right up. And it was such a relief because now I can use it this weekend if I need it. But it's safely tucked into the new shed. And but I was so relieved when it just fired right up, and it runs like a top, just like a top. But that's what homesteading is. I mean, there's always things that happen, and you think, ugh, I don't need this. The man van right now, my Toyota Sienna, right? It's got 240,000 miles on it. I really like it, but it's hard to keep stuff organized in it. And now the side doors, they don't open. So I gotta have to send it in to John Spears to get that figured out. And the damn thing, it locks itself all the time. I want a vehicle that doesn't have that. Is there some wires we can cut? I just don't want it to lock. I never lock my vehicle. I never do. I don't want my vehicle locked. I want the doors to open when I pull the handle. But now they won't open. So I got to crawl in from the back to get everything, and that's not going to work. So I'm thinking that I need to get a pickup truck, and I need to have like a service box on it, So anyway, I'm going to be talking to the right person to talk to about that before too long. Anyway, okay, what do we got here? Rewilder Life. Who do I talk to about this mouse? Every time I want to use it, I have to turn it over and flip the switch. I've learned a ton from you guys. I've helped others butcher many times now. Rewilder Life. I wonder who you are. I wonder if we've met. Brian Jacobs. Yeah, I'd agree with that. See you Saturday. Yep. You might as well get here early. Might as well get here Friday night. I think you guys are staying at the apartment, right? It has a big impact on the people. You see a lot of people moving to it. That is true. And that's why I would stay with it. When we went down a True Fan to the Declare Homestead, there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3 couples that were there they seemed somewhat displaced to me. Like, what are you guys doing here? And then there was another guy that was a businessman, and I really was questioning him, like, why are you doing this? But there's something that tugs at the inside of their heart, like, you better get a handle on your food supply. Oh, Rewilder Life. Okay, you're going to be here Saturday too. All right. See you Saturday, Brian. All right, so I'll meet you. Okay, John's got some profound words here. I believe homesteading is having an effect on America. I also believe that we will continue to see growth in the homesteading community. I would have to agree with you on that. I would. Okay, Jay Z, remember, if you tell five people about this tribe and those five people each tell five people, this thing can really go somewhere and promote self sufficiency in farming. I agree. I think that, some changes are inevitable, right? They really are inevitable. But the basic program that we have right now is good. Okay, so doing the Homestead beef butcher that's coming up this weekend. Actually, we did one last year, and I couldn't have pulled it off, or I couldn't have gathered the data that I needed if it weren't for this group of people. Because I got on the phone and I called Dion, I called Declaric Homestead, um, Sam Miner. Who else? I think it was just three families. And I said, "Do you guys want to help butcher a beef?" And all of them were like, they were here on Saturday, bright and early. And we had, just like we do now, we had a beef hanging up that had been hanging up for 2 weeks. Of course, now we have two of them hanging up, and so we shot one of the cows and we brought that out, put it in a skinning cradle and got it all skun out and everything. And people participated in it, but it wasn't really a class. It was just a way that we could step back and say, could this be a class, Because with pigs, it's a little different, but in some ways it's the same. It's just a different species and it's a slightly different procedure. But uh, in the time since last year, we've determined that, yeah, this can be part of the criteria. And we're actually setting it up now so that we can show techniques that really anybody can do this, because you don't need a tractor to do it. You don't need a butcher shop to do it. It's nice if you have one. I mean, I wouldn't say don't use your tractor if you're doing it and you have one. I would say go ahead and use it. Yeah, for sure. Use whatever you have, but you don't need those things. I have a, this would be of interest to Justin. I have a plan in my mind for a trailer, somewhat like a small boat trailer that has, you ever see them where they're articulating and you can pull a pin and the boat will bend over like this. It'll, it goes down so you can slide it into the water. It breaks loose of the wheels. Well, just think if you had that and it was down like this and the winch is up here and you shoot a cow and you back up to it, you get a cable around the neck and then you start winching it and you pull it up on the trailer, and when it goes over center, ka-chunk, it goes down. And then you pull it into place. The hoofs are in the air, so you're actually on your skinning cradle, and the head is hanging. So when you go to take the head off, gravity will work with you if you believe in gravity. I mean, some people don't, but it will definitely hang. And when you cut that, the head will just drop off. So that's kind of a problem when you don't have the animal lifted up, the head won't drop off. And you wind up cutting into the ground. So I have the plans for this right here in my mind, but I could see having one of these and being able to go to other people's farms and buy a beef. Can I buy a beef from you? Yeah. How much will you give me for it? Oh, I'll give you this much. Hand them cash. Kabang. Pull the old 45 and shoot that beef, and then winch it up on this. Bring it home. Back it into the shop, and go to work on it. And then it's your beef because you paid for it, and then you sell it just like that. Which I said something about this in the video, and I'm talking to a smaller group here, but this is really exciting. We've milked cows for a long time, and we used to take milk to a place in Traverse City, and that's an hour and a half away. And we thought, yeah, you can sell milk up there. We actually took over a milk share program that an Amish guy was doing. He didn't want to do it anymore. And so we said, oh, we'll take it over. And so we started bringing milk up there. And it grew from, you know, I don't know, 10 gallons a week to like 60. No, it wasn't 60, 45 gallons a week. And we weren't even able to produce that. And then I got into a bind with another farm, and I was buying milk from him and kind of reselling it. I was. And I don't know. It was a rotten deal. He had helped me out with something prior, and I let him borrow my bull, and he wound up selling my bull. He was a terrible person, but that didn't really work out. Like we weren't really making enough money to make it profitable, but we wanted the customer base, and we thought that if we built the customer base, we could increase our milk production, and then we could meet it. It never happened, and we didn't milk cows for a couple of years because we just had a bad taste in our mouth about it, and things weren't going so good, and we weren't even sure if we were going to stay on the farm. It was kind of the the problems that we had with the state just seemed to fester, and it wasn't until we found out that we don't have to partner with them if we don't want to. We just let the licenses go, and then you have no agreement with them, and they mean nothing to you. They can't even talk to you unless it's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And if they did, I'd go to hell. None of your business how I'm doing, right? But um, we started milking again, and actually met Joe Higgins, actually, and he's like, "Hey, I got another really nice cow if you're interested." "Yeah, okay. And so we wound up with a few cows, and it started being fun again, and we changed the location where we were milking, and put a refrigerator down by the shop, and people are coming by and they're getting milk and leaving. But then we had too much milk, and we made the decision, hey, let's go into Cadillac. Let's take it with us into Cadillac. 10,000 people. We go there once a week anyway, and we'll sell milk in Cadillac. And so we knew a few people that were interested, but they didn't want to come to the farm and get it, or they weren't consistent. They'd come once in a while, and that's not how herd shares work. It's they pay by the month, and it entitles them to, if they want 2 gallons a week, it entitles them to 8 gallons a month. But they got to pay monthly. And then if they go to Disneyland or something, oh, don't need my milk this week. That's fine, but you paid for it. Oh, really? Yeah, yeah, because I can't put it back in the cow now, and I don't have anybody in the wings waiting for your milk. And if there was somebody, and I gave your milk to them one week, and you come back the next week and say, I want my milk. Oh, I gave it to this guy. So it doesn't. It works better if it's sort of a contract and it's ongoing. And but people don't want to travel to the farm, and I get that for a gallon of milk from, say, Cadillac. So we started taking it in. The first week, Jill took in 1 gallon. Second week, she took in 7. Third week, 8.5. Fourth week, 8. Next week, 12. So I like that trajectory. And then people are saying, oh, you got eggs? Can I get some eggs too? What else do you got? So we had all these turkeys left over from Thanksgiving. We had 20 of them that didn't get sold. And so Jill, do a little value adding on there. Do you like ground turkey? Sure do. And you can get you know twice as much for ground turkey as you can for turkey, because people don't know how to grind it. So they'll pay you to grind it. In essence, is what they're doing. And a lot of people, they don't want to eat beef, so they want to eat turkey. I don't know, but anyway, so it's really working out, and there's a lot of people who are saying, um, you know, we want to do business with the farm, and that's good. I mean, I think that what you have to do as a small farmer is you need several facets of income, and if one of them is one of the if it's a team, a husband and wife team, or other. But if one of you works off the farm, that's a source of income. And then the clerics, I think the clerics are here. Yeah, like Tommy works off, and then he comes home at night and he does stuff. Beth is there all day and detailing the kids to do this, do this, do this, and it's a perfect environment for those kids because they're productive. And it's like a part-time job because they're producing their own food. So it's a good setup, real good setup. All right, I'm getting some good input here. Okay, Nancy's saying farming feed on my land is next, or at least cut way back on bought grain. Sorghum syrup next year to sell. Wow, we'll have a boiler made similar to maple syrup boiler. Ooh, that sounds interesting. The cleric's with us. And Captain Spears says we can fix that. Yeah, we got to do something. Got to do something. You know, I, I'll tell you guys this. I was going to take the man van and paint it to look like a Guernsey cow, and then get a horn in there that when you hit the horn, it moves. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. It really does. It sounds like a lot of fun. But I got so much to do. I'm trying to think, is that a priority? If I had a guy, I do have a guy. Huh. We need to talk, John. My staff. But there's some truth to that. And there's kind of a lesson in that. Like when we work with other businesses and we can do business amongst ourselves and do referrals amongst ourselves, there's a tremendous benefit to that. Instead of just being like all individuals, if we work together, if you find people who own businesses and you like those people and you can work with those people and you think they're good people, and they've got skills that you don't have and they're pursuing things that you're not pursuing, it's good to partner up with people. It's really good. I mean, that would be the old um, survivor mentality, is link up with the people that fill the gaps in your organization that can do stuff. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just thought of something, but I'm not going to say it. All right, I got to get going. It's 9:19. You won't hear from me again until next Tuesday. Uh, don't think there's going to be any live streaming of the beef class tonight or this weekend. I don't think so. So about the only thing that you're going to see out of that is if you wait for the pictures to come out. Okay, so that's probably next, and I'll be coming back at you next Tuesday, right? And I'll be able to give you a little back brief on how things went. All right, thanks, Tony Mono. Did you talk to Owen yet? He had on some Canadian guy that's a homesteader. I didn't listen to the show yet. Owens Owen, it would be good to go on his show. It'd be good to link up with him, the bear community. All right, gotta go. Let's see. Please help me with this if you can. Any of the videos that Joe puts out, like the latest one that he put out was the you can find it on the tribe. It was the Homestead Hog Harvest. If all of you would take and share that to all the people on your contacts list, I mean, that would be huge because people see that and say, oh, okay, I want to find out what that is. That would be huge. And that would help out a lot. So you can help by sharing this stuff, encouraging other people to join the Tribe Plus membership. Please do it. Please do it. I'll tell you what you could do. You could buy a membership for your significant other for Christmas. There you go. Or for your mom. Or if you are a grandparent and you are concerned about the coming food shortage, that's reality. Believe me, it's reality. You're all going to starve. But if you join the Tribe Plus, you'll probably be okay. You see, that's how that works. But what you should do is purchase a membership for one of your grandkids or one of your kids, and then they'll learn how to farm, and maybe they'll feed you if you've been a good mother and father to them. Maybe. Um, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Michael. The charcuterie class will be in pictures, of course, and there will be a video series on charcuterie. We know that, yeah, there will be. There will be. It doesn't exist yet, but there will be. Um, but why don't you come to the class? It's going to be the following weekend after the beef class. Why don't you come? It'd be great. All right. I got to go. I'll see you guys. Anyone can farm.